Hello, this is Danny Green. Thanks so much for joining me today. This is the 12th session of the Soul Power Experience. Activate your soul power, live your infinite greatness, be your own hero. This session is called Bliss. Years ago now, when I was taking Psych K training, the instructor said she lives a life of bliss. And I thought, well, that sounds rather utopian, but I wonder if it is possible. And then I came up with the title of this last lesson of the Soul Power Experience. So let's just go through the journal prompt and then I'll explain everything and give you a personal example from my life. So it is breathe, believe. Life is simple and satisfying. So the first step when you're facing anything is just take a deep breath. Remember to breathe. It benefits your immune system. It creates focus. It slows down your thinking so that you can be more in the present moment. Next, believe. Did you know that your perception can change in an instant? Everything we believe is just our own personal perception. And so we can ask ourselves, is it true? Does this thought or action benefit me, my human family, the planet? Now, remember that negative feelings are normal. We have what's called a negativity bias. We automatically remember and look for what's negative. And the reason is the survival brain back here is trying to keep us safe. It's trying to remind us of everything that's happened so we don't let it happen again in the future. Most often, the difficult things we think about are imaginary. So instead, we can easily look higher and have a better thought that creates a more positive feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. So what you believe is really important. I read a book called How God Changes Your Brain by Newberg, and it's a scientific book. They studied a lot of people, and what he found out is the most important belief is that there's a benevolent force, a benevolent God. If you feel like there is hell and God is mad at you, that is going to bring down your consciousness, your frequency, maybe even your behavior, who knows? So just remember that we do have a benevolent force that is for us. In the book by Greg Braden called Prophecy, in the Christian Bible, there is passages that talk about destruction. And then there's passages that talk about a new heaven. And those passages are next to each other. Some people believe we have to go through destruction before we can get to the new heaven. But in fact, it's a choice. We can choose destruction or we can choose a new heaven. I prefer to live in heaven already every day. So our perception, our belief really makes a difference. Believe life. Celebrate that you are alive. This is your chance to have a human body and experience life on this planet. Just feel that life force within you. Your soul is literally keeping you alive. Celebrate that you are alive. Believe life is. Accepting what is so important. One time I belonged to an agency, and the people above me, the leadership above me, made a decision that I thought was wrong, and I was really mad about it. Stomped around the house, and then I realized, wait a minute. Why am I fighting what is? What good is that going to do? I need to accept what is. So if you could stop and become aware of what is and accept what is, and then learn to adore what is, because what is. And it's just like Byron Katie says, if we fight against reality, we'll always lose. So really being present with what is, and I know if it's something super difficult and you just absolutely hate it, that is pushing you then to do something different, to have better boundaries or get out of this situation if you can. And so if you fight reality, you will always lose. Believe life is simple. Now, simple means easily understood or done. And if we can boil down what we're currently thinking, like, you know how our brain gets super, super complex and confused? If you could just stop and just ask yourself, what is simple about this? What is more deeply true and more simple about this? Something that's easy to understand or easy to do. It's a great strategy to find out what's deeply true. Believe life is simple, and that "and" means everything belongs, which is a quote in a book from Richard Rohr. If we can accept that everything belongs somehow, then we will again move into a place of becoming aware and accepting. Belief that life is simple and satisfying. The next step in this is to become satisfied with this simple statement that you came up in this journaling technique. So, in order to be content, we can look for meaning and gratitude. So, I want to remind you that our ego or our less than mature self is naturally unsatisfied. And that's because, like, when we were cold, we figured out how to start a fire. And when we were tired of carrying things on our back, we created wheels. And then we created wagons. And then we thought the horses might get tired and take too long to get our things anywhere. So someone put an engine in a wagon and it became a car. And then that wasn't fast enough. So the Wright brothers said they could fly. Do you see that we became dissatisfied with what we had? And that's actually a point of evolution that helps us to evolve. So when you feel unsatisfied, just realize that you can become satisfied. Being unsatisfied can push you to either work in a different way or change your situation if you can. So we can grow into maturity and peace by being satisfied with what is and what is simply true about this situation. Now, even if it's not something that you ultimately want, you still have what we talked about in an earlier session is you still have resolve. Resolve means, look, I am being satisfied with what is simple. And then the part of this that I'm not satisfied with, I'm going to solve it because I have resolve to live a satisfying life. So as long as you have resolve and you don't give up, you will work things out so that it can be satisfying to you. So in our real life lesson, uh, we talked about the fact that sometimes we will say, what if this didn't happen in our past? And what if this happens in our future? And asking what if is not a satisfying way to live. What we could ask is, I wonder if, just to be really curious and be open to learning what is more true than you've thought before about anything. I wonder. I can imagine. I'm open. Maybe I could be satisfied either way. We can trust that universal God source has our highest good in mind. Remember, our perceptions are not real. We're telling ourselves a story, but our choices are real and create our future. So if we can change our perspective and really focus on our choices and our behavior and what we do, we can create a better future for ourselves. I know it feels like a lot of responsibility, but remember the kaleidoscope principle. Even if we take 2 steps back and 2 steps forward, that there's order and beauty in life. In life as teacher, we remember that whatever we go through, we'll learn. It'll make us stronger. Life tests our character, but we can continue to learn and grow in this lifetime, in the next realm, or even in the next lifetime. What happens to one of us happens to all of us. We're all evolving together, each of us in our individual timeline. We are all one. So, we start our life out in depending in dependence, depending on our parents. And then we learn how to be independent. That's what we do in our teenage years and our adult years. But then after a while, we become more interdependent. And that's really a wise way to live. So growing from dependence, independence to interdependence is helping us realize we are all one and we can impact each other's life. Now, you have a lot of resources in your binder or online, and one of the things that I use in my meditation is this chakra chart that I provided. And I'm sure you noticed that the order of the chakras in your body are the colors of Roy G. Biv. And so rather than really remembering where the chakra is and what its name is, I just pray the colors. I just ask that energy, be released that is not serving me from any areas of my chakras. But did you know that after the crown chakra, the violet chakra, that there's also a soul chakra in chakra 8, and it's in union with creator and creation, and the color's gold. So you can imagine a gold chakra just above your head. And then the spirit chakra is 9, and it's located in the heart of the universe. So I love to add those two colors when I'm praying the chakras. It's like a silver cord of light, and that joins us with all that is and the infinite. Another resource is just a prism, and the resource has white light coming in, all that light from the universe, and then a rainbow of light coming out. So can you just imagine that your body's a prism and you are sending out light energy through your chakras to the space around you? Another resource I have is a body movement meditation where I have specific body movements for light, love, power, and wisdom. And so when I pray this strategy, I actually make my body into a star and say that the light of my body and soul joins with the light of the sun, moon, and stars in the universe, the cosmos, and I send light to those despairing of life. And then I make kind of an X with my body with my arms straight up. And that means that I am love and I receive love that's there for me and behind me, beside me, below me, beyond me, and I send love to those despairing of life. And then I make this power pose, and that is sending um, higher good to anyone despairing of life. And then I walk, kind of step and walk into my day with wisdom. And again, I send wisdom to those despairing of life. So that's a body meditation I've included for you. Another strategy is, let's see, I have an A through Z mindset chart where you can just fill in positive words and focus on those positive words as you go through your day. Just create that list for yourself. I do give you a certificate for finishing the class. And then the last resource that I'd like to share with you today is a prayer that I've created. I actually felt like I needed to know who all the resources were available to me as I started my soul power journey. And so this prayer that you'll find in your curriculum has 3 spaces for you to discern what is true for you. The first one is to name your ascended master. Mine happens to be Jesus Christ because of my zip code. And then name your spirit guide. And you can just discern that by settling in and asking your spirit guide's name. The last thing that you can fill in is your life purpose. And then when I pray this full prayer that you find in your curriculum, I actually always list my name, my full name, and my professional name so that I'm naming myself. And then I always say the date, which reminds me we have today to do what we've been called to do. Another teaching from Greg Braden that I wanted to share with you, he researched numbers in that how numbers were used in ancient times, and he mentioned that the number 8 represented soul, heaven, and God. And that was so cool because just like a week before I read that, I'd actually bought myself an infinity ring. And if you turn an 8 sideways, that's an infinite symbol. So I just want you to realize that you are infinite. Your soul and heaven and God are all connected. Isn't that beautiful? I wanted you to know that. We are infinite. Our spiritual self is what we take with us when we leave this realm. Did you know that your soul has a energetic frequency signature? So when you join other souls in the next realm, they actually know you already because they know your frequency signature. And I think it's so cool to know that and to just be high vibe and be recognized that way. Great. Well, those are the resources I have for you in the Bliss lesson of the soul power experience. Oh, and I also told you I'll tell you a personal story when I use this strategy. So years ago now, 5 years actually, my son and his wife had a choice to live in Monroe, Washington, which is 10 minutes from us, or Moses Lake, Washington, which is 3 hours from us. And they were making this decision. And by the end of the evening, I realized they were going to move away from us. And I really love my boy. And so I was really sad about it. I was mad about it. And I actually got out of bed and just stomped around the grass because I was so sad and mad. And then I thought, wait a minute, I just wrote a journaling technique. So why don't I use it? So I took a deep breath. And then the following came to me, and I actually was able to resolve this whole situation in 12 hours, which, if you know me, that's pretty amazing. So let me just tell you how I solved it. So, of course, I called my sister that morning, just still sad and mad. But then I realized I was believing that I didn't think my son and daughter should move 3 hours away. But then I realized I was angry and sad about that they made the decision to move. But then I thought, wait a minute, I'm fighting reality. What's more simple about this? And I said, it's their life and they have the right and responsibility to make choices for themselves and everything belongs. And then I became satisfied with the following concept, which is we look at the same sun and moon, and I hope to see them once a month in person because I love them. And so I wrote a note to my son that day and I said, we look at this same sun and moon and I love you. And we have not missed a month seeing each other since that time. And then I called my sister back and she was wondering how I was. And I'm like, oh, I'm so over it. She was so surprised that I felt okay about it so soon that she literally watched all my learning videos of the soul power experience and became an energy healer herself because she thought, boy, if Danny can get over something that quick, then it must be a good strategy. So that's my personal story of using the bliss meditation for my own life. Well, it's been so great to be on this soul power journey with you. And whether you've taken all these 12 classes with me, including the hypnosis session in consecutive order, or if you've found me on other online platforms and you're just taking one session at a time that interests you, either way, I'm just super proud of you for learning and growing and changing and just living a high vibe life on a higher path. Because really, when you can heal and change the story you tell yourself, then you are not only healing yourself, you're healing, bringing healing to your family, your community, and the world and the cosmos. And did you know that when you heal yourself, you heal others that are in similar situations? The healing literally ripples out from your life. So everything really is worth it, even if you've been through a lot. And I'm sorry if you have, but I'm here for you. I love you so much. And namaste. The divine in me celebrates the divine in you. I look forward to our one-on-one session. Take good care. Thank you.